to literally constantly just reel them in. And it was crazy in itself. But with the student that I had who got into the fights, he ended up popping back into the class, and as I told you guys, the suspension was taken off the table. In the midst of that, he popped in while we were working on a quiz, and then during the quiz portion, he was like one of the last students to like pop in during the final brief moment, so he got to work on the quiz, but he was being extremely disruptive. And then he had this other student sitting next to him. I put them in a separate group because their table was extremely talkative. And I told them, I was like, if you guys continue to talk throughout the quiz, we're gonna have to literally give you guys zeros because you're talking throughout a freaking quiz. And they were like, oh my gosh, okay, well, can we go over there, because they are actually being disruptive and we'd be getting in trouble a lot. And I was like, I told you guys that multiple times. I was like, you guys are in a group where you guys are talking and then you guys are all getting in trouble. If you don't want to participate in that, don't participate in that so you don't get in trouble. And they were like, with you stating that, I'm going to literally heed your words on that and literally ask to be in a separate area. And I was like, yeah, freaking course. But then, alright, you guys. So then he ends up joining the other group of students, which is overall, I was completely okay with that. I was like, you just got off of getting suspended, and I am freaking glad about that. I hate when students get into like a lot of trouble during my shifts, especially. I'm like, I literally only pop it for a few days out of the week, so I love to literally reconnect with my students, and I hate for there to be anything like cray going on. So he sat at the table with the other students, and he was like, he has this like set area, and with his like area, there like I would say there were the class was like 3 students short of being completely full. So he has like an entire freaking like group area to himself. But he's also one of those students who has learning disabilities, and he also is extremely hyperactive. So it's great for him to be in that area, so he's able to still be close to other students and not cut out of the group, but also be able to focus, because when other students are added to the mix with the student, he always is extremely distracted. But he asked to sit with these students that asked to be isolated from their table area into the safe, calm table area. And I was like, I mean, yeah, we're finished up with the quiz, and now they have like a bit of free time before we start the next set of like, activities. And he like went over to the area, and there was one other kid at the table who was taking the quiz while the other kids were working on free time and doing work on their Chromebooks. He popped over to that area and started being extremely talkative, and then he like literally, and I kept like checking on them to make sure they were okay while watching over the rest of the classroom, to make sure they didn't get too out of control, but they still got to enjoy their free time. And in the midst of it, he was like, that kid's cheating. He just looked over at my test. And then like I would say like maybe like one other kid at the table vouched for him, and then everybody else was like, I don't even want to get brought into this. We literally asked to sit over here, so we didn't end up at another table where they're like,